This justification, this righteousness that comes on upon us, is not in any way a kind of moral goodness inside. Look, we have low church and we have high church. We have liturgical smells and bells. We have, Bible-believing evangelical, sawdust trail churches, and we all have a problem with something. We actually don't believe the gospel. Let me start with the evangelical types, all right? How do most people in these kinds of churches believe salvation works? Here's what they think. I have to really give my life to Jesus. I have to really surrender to Jesus. I just have to be open and just unconditionally committed to Jesus. And then I say, oh Lord, I'm open to you. I'm committed to you. I'm going to live for you. I'm surrendering to you. Come into my life and save me and forgive me. Fill my life. You hear what you just did? I clean up my heart a little bit. I make myself righteous a bit. I purge myself and cleanse myself of these other kinds of feelings, and I surrender myself and I put myself in a committed state, and then God comes in and does the rest. In other words, I make myself a little righteous, and then God comes in and does the rest. And there's a high church version of that. There's a liturgical version of that, is I take the sacraments, I give myself to that, and then so I'm making myself available, and I take the supper, and I'm baptized, and then God comes in and does the rest. Paul actually goes so far as to say that God justifies the ungodly. And that means that when you're justified, when you're absolutely righteous and loved, absolutely accepted, in yourself, you're absolutely unworthy, absolutely sinful. You're ungodly. And therefore, there is absolutely nothing in you that is the basis for this justification. Nothing. Now, people have a lot of problem with that. And they say, oh my goodness, they say, I've got to be good a little bit. And I had somebody once say to me, if I really believe what you say, that salvation is absolutely by free grace, and I don't have to be good at all, I don't even have to screw up my heart into a kind of, good state at all. Said, if I believe what you believe, I have no incentive to live a good life. If I really believed that I was totally saved, had nothing to do with how I lived, it was completely free, then I'd have no incentive to live a good life. And here's the proper, I think, response. If when you lose all fear of punishment, you also lose your incentive for living a good life, then the only incentive you had to live a good life was fear. See, if when you lose your fear, you lose your incentive to be good, then the only incentive you had to be good was the fear. And here's the ironic thing. The fear is selfish. Fear is always selfish. Because I might lose, this might happen, that might happen, I better be good. Well, what is goodness? Well, goodness is unselfish living, unselfish service to God, unselfish service to the poor, unselfish service to my neighbor. I'm scared that I might be lost unless I'm good. And what is goodness? Being unselfish. But don't you realize that's incredibly selfish? When you live a good life so that God will bless you and take you to heaven, it's by definition not good. Because it's all for you. All of it's for you. You're not helping the poor. You're helping yourself. You're not helping God. You're helping yourself. This is the reason why the Belgic Confession, an old Reformation document from the 17th century, puts it like this. Far from making people cold toward living in a holy way, justifying faith so works within them that apart from it they will never do a thing out of love for God, but only out of love for themselves and fear of being condemned. Did you hear that? Yeah, let me tell you what that's saying. If you think your good deeds are good, if you think your unselfish good deeds are good, they're no good. In other words, if you think they're good and therefore God owes you something, they're not good by definition. They're not good by your own definition. Your selflessness is really selfishness. But if you say, oh, my good deeds are worthless, I need to be saved by grace. I am saved by grace. Now I want to please God. I want to resemble God. I want to delight God. I want to get near God. Well, how do I do that? By serving Him, By serving other people? And here's the real, if you think your good deeds are good, they're no good. But if you think your good deeds are absolutely worthless and you're saved by grace, that makes your deeds good. So if you think they're good, they're no good. If you think they're no good, they're good. They start to get good. Because you see, when you realize they're worthless and therefore you're doing them just to please God, they're actually for God. They're actually for the person that you're helping. You see why C.S. Lewis said the reason he knew that Christianity must be true is when he actually looked at it, he realized that nobody could have ever thought this up. And you see the reason why Richard Hooker would say, let it be counted as folly or frenzy or fury whatsoever. This is our comfort and wisdom. We care for no other knowledge in the world but this.